good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Melissa Slaymaker, and I'm the Global Partnership Director for Women in Tech, a global movement focusing on our mission, which is empowering 5 million women and girls in STEAM by 2030. And today we are going to have an exciting fireside chat with two amazing female leaders. So let me add them to the screen as I introduce them. Hi, ladies. So nice to meet you. On screen today, we've got Julia Furst, who's the Global Technologist and Product Strategy at Veeam Software. And she's also joined by Karinne Bessette, who's the Global Technologist, Microsoft 365 Lead Strategy, also at Veeam Software, which is a global organization and global partner of Women in Tech that specialize in data protection, data intelligence, data backup, all things data. They're a global organization with over 5,000 employees all over the world. And we are so thrilled to have this partnership with Veeam, as well as to have this conversation with you all today. So if you are joining us from LinkedIn, please put in the comments where you're from, which country you're representing, or where you're from. It's always good to see the global community. And if you're joining from YouTube, please do the same. We will be sharing a few links throughout the channels that you can follow for a few exciting things that you can do through Women in Tech, and also events coming up. So welcome, Julia. Welcome, Karinne. Thank you so much for being here today. And I'm so excited to hear more about your journeys, your stories. And the theme today is really focusing on inspiring the next generation, women making waves in technology. So that's you guys, or you ladies, should I say. And it really is, it's an important topic because we want to inspire the next generation. We know that there's still a gender gap in STEAM, in technology, in engineering, and all of these kind of roles in all sorts of industries. And we need to make sure that we close that gap to reach the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030 and beyond. So who am I going to pick on first? Julia, I'm going to come to you. Please give us an introduction and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go through your career journeys.
Sounds good. Well, thank you first for having me. It's a pleasure being here, sharing about my journey with other women. I think we have to help each other, support each other, encourage each other, and inspire. So it's a great opportunity. I come originally from Brazil. So I come from mostly a non-traditional tech background. I went to law school there. And when I moved to the US, I studied business, worked in marketing for many years. And then I got in tech, I would say in 3 years, 3 years ago. And I joined Veeam. I've been working at Veeam for 2 years and a half already. Time flies. And focusing mostly on cloud. So AWS, Azure a little bit, and cloud native. So doing Kubernetes and helping with our products. So Veeam Backup for AWS and Veeam Backup for Kubernetes.
Fantastic. I'm going to now come to you, Karinne. Please do an introduction to yourself. Let us know and how you kind of just give us a little bit of a short version of your journey. We'll delve into more detail in a moment.
So I just want to parrot everything Julia said. It's an absolute pleasure to get to be on here and talk about some of our unconventional paths to what I call success at this point. We've done phenomenal in our careers, and it's not always been easy. And it's not always been kind of like that straight along path, but it's definitely been an interesting path, which kind of provides insights that you can always do it your own way. And I love the idea of trying to promote diversity of all kinds into the workforce. I myself also do teaching on the side. I like going to schools and giving these kinds of presentations because you just see such lights in all these generations' eyes that make you kind of want to keep doing this and are inspired yourself along these ways. And I'm excited to get into some of this here. I've been with Veeam for almost 8 years now. I actually started off in our technical support side. And then a couple years in, I moved to this strategy role, which I never saw coming in my lifetime, going from behind a phone to being in front of people, which has been an experience all in itself.
Sure. That's amazing. Thank you so much, ladies. I really find it so fascinating hearing the stories of especially women in terms of their journeys of how they landed up in a career in IT or technology or engineering, because it seems like it's always a different path. And I think that's important to point out that there's not just one way or one path that leads you to become a technologist or data scientist or whatever it is, so that you can actually see, hey, maybe it is for me. It's not so maybe out of reach, because I can see
Mhm.
you doing it. So can you tell me, Julia, I'm going to come back to you in terms of your story. Was there any pivotal moments in your life, whether it was in primary school or high school, university or work, that actually pivoted you towards wanting to having a career in technology?
So in my family, no one really is an engineer or works in tech. I never had, someone to inspire me to get into tech. I think that came only later in my life. Like I mentioned, I worked as a lawyer. I worked in marketing. My last job in marketing was at an MSP. So it's a managed service provider. It's an IT company that provides uh, IT services for other big companies. And that's when I thought, oh, I would like to work as an engineer. But I never thought it would be possible, with no technical education. But then I did a coding boot camp, and I had a lot of help from other people. So, also watching live streams like these, being inspired by other people, that's what gave me the strength to keep going. And also, I think it's very important to mention that you can get in tech at any age. Even people that are 50 years old, they can get in tech. And it doesn't need to be, to become a software engineer. I thought in tech, there was only the software engineering job. I didn't know there was a lot more. There was cloud, there was, developer advocacy. That is pretty much what we do in our team. There are so many things. You can be a project manager and be in tech, but people, when they are outside of tech, they think it's just one world, and it's really hard to get in there. It's probably impossible, so we're not even gonna try. I used to think like that. And no, it's very possible. You just need to put in the work, and we can talk more about that later. What type of work helps to get you your foot at the door quicker. But I think it was just meeting people across my career, and those things helped me. But even if you don't know anyone in tech and you only know people online, people you watch streams from or YouTube, that's enough already for you to start your journey, I think.
Perfect. And Karinne, I want to ask you the same question. So, was there a pivotal moment in your career journey or in your childhood, perhaps, that made you think, aha, this is what I want to do?
So, I've actually always been a fan of technology itself. And I would say one of my pivotal moments were actually around high school because I joined our career center because we happened to have an IT program. It was the equivalent of like an A plus class for 2 years with a little bit of digital media. And that really just set me down the path of getting jobs that were a little bit higher each time around, hopping from different companies. Like I started off at a tiny little ISP, internet service provider in my local town that doesn't really have a global stance, up to being now at a global company with over 5,000 employees and up in a team that does some incredible work for the strategy side of where technology is going. And I had no idea coming into IT that it was this big and this diverse in so many opportunities. Anytime someone comes up to me like, hey, what kind of career path do you think I should go down? I tell them always try something in technology because almost 4 to 5 years, everything you know is obsolete. So you're no more than 4 or 5 years behind anyone behind you, and especially in emerging technologies. You see AI coming out or cloud coming out, you see an inordinate amount of women in these types of careers because they can start today and have the same knowledge and expertise as the same equivalent across the board that's starting in these newer emerging technologies.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. So, Julia, you mentioned something that also was interesting. You said you had a lot of people that helped you and you had people to kind of support you. And Karinne, you mentioned around there's so many different technologies, such a big variety. So, in terms of technology today and how it's basically shaped and changed throughout the industry, you mentioned that obviously every 4 years things are changing. You always can upskill, and even if you're in tech, surprise, surprise, your learning journey never stops. Be prepared to always continuously wanting to learn and new and upgrade your skills. But what excites you the most about the future of tech? So, Julia, let me come to you and ask you that.
Oh, me, yes. So, what excites me the most, I think it's, what Corinne said, every time there is something new, you're never bored in tech. There are people, they say, oh, I'm bored at work. It's always the same thing. In tech, there is always something new, a new technology coming out. You're meeting new people, there are so many opportunities. And I'm never bored. I love to study, and I think this is very important. When you get in tech, you're gonna realize that you have to study all the time. So if you don't like to study, maybe I don't know if tech, but maybe another role, something different would be better for you, because you need to keep up with everything in tech, and I used to have a lot of imposter syndrome. I think we're gonna touch on that as well. But realizing that engineers that have been working in tech for 20 years, they know a lot, but a lot of the technologies are just coming out, and I know as much as they know about that technology, because it has been out for the same amount of time. So it has helped me a lot with the imposter syndrome. And yeah, I think just being passionate about what you do, and wanting to learn every time more, that has helped me a lot.
Thank you so much, Julia. And Karinne, is there anything that you are particularly excited about? I see we're being joined by your beautiful cats
Yeah.
for this
Yeah.
call. That's
I've
amazing.
been gone so much the last couple of months. They have not left me alone. So I apologize and also say, hey, here's a kitty
That's
cat.
amazing. Always
But
a good
what
partner, colleague.
I really love about technology is the way that it makes everything else in society more accessible. There are just incredible technologies that have come out over like the last 15 years that will help readers for people that can't see, navigation within operating systems to create jobs for people that didn't have jobs before, have automated ways to fix color blindness and being able to actually enjoy and experience web pages the way that they were meant to. And finally, some of the biggest things that I've seen come up have been with AI. We kind of, some of our nerdier sides, watch those communication trackers in any sci-fi show where their language wasn't a problem, and it's becoming real life language translation of documents that don't say this cup of soup equals black. No, I have a cup of coffee is what I meant to say. And you can actually express that to someone that you have no idea their base language, and it's amazing. It kind of gives me Doctor Who vibes, if anyone's seen that, where you come out of the TARDIS and you automatically speak all of the languages around you, and that's incredible. That's what I love about technology, is bridging people together.
That's amazing. No, I definitely agree with you. And it's so interesting to see, especially with artificial intelligence and Gen AI now, that it is just it's technology is changing in front of your eyes. It's no longer a generational thing. It's like a every month, every week thing. It's crazy. But just wanted to stop and see if we've got any questions in the chat. Please feel free to pop any questions through there. And we just want to mention we've got people from all over the world, from
Yeah, I can see that on the chat.
South Africa,
That's
London,
awesome.
Verde. So it really is a global community. And this is exactly what we need. We need to have more visibility around women in tech and also inspire the youth. Were there any particular challenges that you want to maybe share with us, something that maybe advice of how to overcome? I know you mentioned imposter syndrome, Julia, but in terms of other challenges, are there any things that you can maybe share a story with us and then also let us know how you overcame those challenges? So I'll start with you,
Corinne,
Julia. you don't
Me?
mind. Sorry.
Yeah, Karinne, go. She can go
Okay.
first. Let me think.
Sure.
So I think this bodes for anyone that is entering an industry where they are a minority is there's always going to sort of feel like you have this outsider syndrome, but I found out a lot of times it was mostly internalized. And it's getting over that internalized factor of like I don't belong, and then convincing yourself and continuing to tell yourself that you absolutely belong where you are, because you are just as passionate about a lot of the technologies and a lot of the things that you're doing in your everyday life, and just as passionate around that as anyone else around you, and promote yourself to say, hey, I am here and I'm going to act like I'm meant to be here. And I know it gets said a lot, but act like you're a guy. Like take a look at a guy sitting there and you're not
Mm,
completely up straight. You're actually
yeah.
relaxed, you're back and look comfortable in your situation, and present a self empowerment is my biggest advice, and overcome that I still catch myself trying to do, and not being so apologetic but being sincere instead.
Yeah. Totally. I love what Corinne just said. I would say that a challenge for me that I still face is comparing myself to others a lot. You know, you compare yourself and you see people that have been in the industry for longer than you, they know tech better than you, or you know, I maybe some of the women in the chat might think the same, but since I'm not American, I used to think my English wasn't that good, you know, and that would make me think, oh, you know, that might be a bad thing at my work, etc. But now I realized I can bring a lot more other things than just, you know, my English is not that good, or I don't know technology as good as someone else. I can bring my knowledge from marketing or from law. I have other languages that I can speak to other people. So we always focus on the bad things that we have, and we never focus on the good things. You know, that thing that you look at the cup, at half of the cup, is it empty or is it half full? We think it's half empty, but you have to think it's half full, and look at our positives. I think I've switched and started looking at the positives, and that has helped me tremendously.
I would love to double click on something Julia said,
Of
and
course,
that's
yeah, go ahead.
about I have walked into so many situations where upper management is like, we want someone that knows about manufacturing or clothing or fashion or something like that because we can teach them technology. But to have the background and know someone's industry intimately, and then be able just to teach them the little bits about technology that they need to know, because you can't know everything. You can't know 2% of technology, period. It's just impossible. There's not enough hours in the day. But if you know something like marketing and you have a skill set, almost every skill set can translate over to technology. And that's usually your footing in the door above and
Mhm.
beyond the guy that's been there for 20 years working on some old system or computer or servers, because right now cloud, a lot of that's obsolete.
Yeah. If I can add one more thing, is that, you know, a lot of times soft skills are as important as technical skills, or even more important. Like Corinne said, technical skills you can teach people, but the soft skills, you know, communication and being able to network, or to learn fast, and you know, these things, they're not as easy to teach. And I can give an example for myself. My job at Veeam, when I interviewed with my manager, I told him I haven't really ever worked with backup or hardware. I want to learn. I even learned, you know, some things for the interview, and he said, "It's okay. We will teach you all of that. But the fact that you're hungry to learn, and you know, you came prepared, you networked with people in the team already, etc. This is what we need. The rest we can teach you." So and that's very important. The technical anyone can learn. You can do a course on YouTube, a course, watch videos on YouTube, etc. There are mentors that can help you, but the soft skills are very, very important still, even so in tech.
And we tend to be better at them.
Yes, uh-huh. I agree.
Absolutely. And no, I love everything that you're saying. I see a lot of chats in the also, saying that imposter syndrome is real. It is a real thing. And I love also someone said about, positive affirmations help them get through some of these feelings of doubt when you're thinking, oh, should I, can't I? And it actually has been proven that women compared to men would only apply to jobs if they sort of, or promotions even, if they meet 90 or 100% of the criteria, compared to men that would apply if they only have 40, 50, 60% of the
Exactly.
criteria,
Hmm.
because they just go for it. So I think we need to feel like we can go for it.
Yeah.
Yes, you're not going to be successful every time, you might fail, but if you
Hmm.
didn't try, you'd never even have the opportunity. And you
Exactly.
cannot teach attitude. You cannot teach someone to be curious and to go and find out or teach something, learn something out of their own interest, right?
Hmm.
Especially in technology, it's so important to prepare. And like you said, people will see that, okay, they didn't know, but they went and researched, or maybe they went on a
Yeah.
course. And there's so much free stuff available online
Oh,
these days
yes,
to learn anything.
tons.
You
Hmm.
don't have to think, now I have to go do a degree, or I have to spend so much money to go and get the skill. It actually, there's so many free resources available online if you're interested and if you know where to look. Obviously, Women in Tech is a great place to start. We can guide you in many
Hmm.
areas of courses and things that we have with many of our partners. So it is actually easier than you think to upskill in technology. There's no age limit. You can work from anywhere. It's in every industry, and every future job, I think, will have technology somewhere. So it's important to be part of this world, right? So I want to now move on to kind of just a different segment, talking about mentorship and allyship and
Hmm.
advocacy. So we know that we can't do it all alone. We need people, we need allies. So we need men, and we need other people that maybe don't identify as women, that want to be part of our career journey. We need mentors, sponsors.
Hmm.
Sponsors and mentors are obviously different. So sponsors are someone that would give you a leg up, or say, oh, I recommend this person for that promotion when you're not in the room, which is very important. And
Hmm.
mentors are also very important. Doesn't matter what gender they are, you need mentors. How important has mentorship, sponsorship, allyship been in your career journey? So Karinne, I'm going to start with you if you want to tell us about that.
So I think mentorships is probably one of the most talked about but underutilized career progression path for people, because we talk about it a lot. I don't know if I've been to like a women in technology or a diversity conference that hasn't just hammered home mentorship. But when you do a survey of the crowd, that's people who've had a mentor for more than like their first initial meeting, the numbers sort of start to dwindle. And that's really unfortunate because it's taking time to develop yourself. And this is 100% a career development path. And it may not be something that you are going to pursue. Like it may not be the way that you plan on going. But if you're able to have an intelligent conversation about diverse groups in your organization in different departments, it makes you an invaluable asset. And it's not even just internal, because we talk about all of these internal mentoring programs as well. You want to branch out to other companies, sign up for like the Women in Technology global groups and see if you can find someone there. I also highly recommend, if you have any skill set whatsoever, that you have the product marketing, you have manufacturing, or whatever it might be, sign yourself up to be a mentor. Because I will tell you, I have learned 100 times more things from mentoring other people than I have from being mentored myself. And it has nothing to do with the quality of the mentors. It's the quality of trying to think about someone else's situation and then trying to think above and beyond how you would react to that. And the sheer exposure that you get from that is incredible. And the self-awareness of how would I have reacted to that situation 5 years ago versus how how am I telling someone else to react to that situation now from my learned experience? And I enjoy it a lot.
Thank you so much for that. And also, just on the mentorship part, I just put the link here at the bottom for those who are interested in joining the Women in Tech mentorship program. It's available also via our WITS Hub, which is a platform that's free. You can join, and there's mentoring programs there that you can also subscribe to. So please have a look at those. Coming to you, Julia, what do you feel has been your impact of mentorship, allies, or sponsors within your career?
So I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for allies, mentors, and sponsors. I wouldn't have grown so much in my career in just shorter than 2 years, 3 years. I I was giving you my intro, but I also became a CNCF ambassador, an AWS container hero. I'm part of several other programs, and all of that because I had help along the way. So first, mentors, yes, helping me to focus, because we tend to want to do everything. At least to me, I want to learn everything. I want to do so much, and then you end up getting overwhelmed. So mentors have helped me, focus on this technology, or do one thing at a time, build this project, go to this event instead of trying to do so many things. Allies as well, and sponsors on the same way. But I think sponsors you only get after you know them a little bit. It's really hard to get sponsors, and they are very valuable, but you need first to build a relationship with them, and maybe they can be your mentors first, and then they'll become your sponsors once they know you better. And but it's all, I would say, a journey. You don't get a mentor by asking them on LinkedIn if they can become a mentor. A great way to get a mentor is through Women in Tech. You have an amazing program, which I'm part of as well. I have mentors. I'm a mentee through Women in Tech, and I have met great amazing women as well. So this is a great way. And also reaching out to women you feel inspired by on LinkedIn, start a conversation. You never know where these things might lead, but I assure you, you will get many opportunities, knowledge from just sparking a conversation with someone, either a mentor or ally or something else. So definitely they should look into the program, or try to find other people as well.
Thank you for that. No, absolutely. We've had such great feedback from our mentorship program, and obviously it's something that you've tried and tested, but it's really important to also look for opportunities, even with offline. So people in your organization, outside of your organization, because and the only thing I always say is you just have to ask. You might get, and you have to just keep trying and use LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn is a great platform for you to connect to a potential mentor, or even future job opportunities. But it's also important to have your personal branding. I see your hands up, Julia.
Yeah, because I don't want to interrupt you. So like
ahead.
on Teams, we put our hands up. I like that you say you just have to ask, but I get a lot of people asking me on LinkedIn, let's say, oh, can you be my mentor? And I think there's a better way to do that than just being blunt and asking, can you be my mentor? It's better to build a relationship first. So, you see someone on LinkedIn, comment on their post, maybe send a connect request and say, hi, I saw you somewhere. I would love to connect and, start or maybe I used to do this when I started in tech. I would ask for a 15 minutes coffee chat with people that were already in tech. And I would tell them I'm doing a coding bootcamp and I would love to learn more about your career journey. And I did more of 100 of these coffee chats. And that's how I networked in the industry. So this is better than just asking, hey, can you be my mentor, or can you refer me to a job? Because people, if they don't know you, they're not going to be inclined to do those things for you. So you have to show that you want to put in the work as well. So just a quick tip. I didn't want to interrupt you,
No, I
but
love that.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
So, because I think people, you have to like have a bit of a relationship, and people also need to know that it's a good personal match, personality
Mhm.
match as well.
Exactly.
But that's why our platform's great, because it also uses AI technology to match people, and it's been working great. So,
Mhm.
thank you AI for that.
Yeah.
Um, also, I wanted to talk to you also around your journey a little bit deeper. So when you were young and when you were kind of, but let me rephrase the question. What would you have wished to have told your younger self if you had the opportunity about your career now, about career in technology, about women in tech? What would you advise would you have wanted to give your younger self? So, Karinne, I'm going to come to you.
This is going to sound probably a little shocking, but quit your job and quit your job sooner. If you're not happy and you are burning yourself out and you're not making a career projection and a career path, don't stay in that job relationship. Get out of it and move on to the next one, because your skills are transferable, and continue to work your way up, because I would not be where I am. And I say this in a fun way, but I rage quit each of my jobs to go up, because they got to a point where they were not giving me my progression. They were calling me a non-technical position after so long, and I just put in my 2 weeks and accepted somewhere else. And sometimes I took pay cuts to be happier, and being happy in your job position is significantly more important than whatever paycheck you're doing, because no matter where you go, if you're happier, you're going to end up making more money in the end. You're going to have a better quality of life, you're going to give it better benefits, and your health absolutely 100% matters.
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many times I worked myself thinking I'm going to get a little further, and I would just tell myself stop, move on, and find somewhere where you're happier.
Yeah,
Yes, I
definitely.
absolutely love that. Julia, coming to
Yeah,
you.
I would say I would tell myself, don't take no for an answer, because you are capable, maybe, and sometimes it's not yet, but I think there is never no if you really want something, and taking it further. I would say also, you know, you always have to ask, maybe, because we assume, like you were saying, men, they apply even if they only have 50% in the resume, etc., and women wait until they have 100%. Like, they know you already have. That's what I always think. So I'm gonna ask anyway. They might say yes, they might say no, and even if they say no, for me it's like a not yet. Maybe I still need to do a little bit more until it's a yes, or maybe it's not the right time with the company, with the person you talked to, with that opportunity, and it might be the right time in 6 months. But don't ever think that you are the problem, So I think confidence is very important in tech, because men are usually very confident, and women, we tend to think, oh, we're not good enough, etc. So this ties to imposter syndrome. And I still, I still have a lot of imposter syndrome, but it's learning and dealing with it day by day, I would say.
Thank you so much. Um, so, Karinne, I want to ask you a question because you touched on it slightly, and it's around this infamous work-life balance. Because you mentioned if you're not happy, happiness is important. We talk about mental health quite often now, quite openly. I think the stigma is no longer there. But how do you, or what do you do to create some sort of balance or some sort of happiness within your work? Is there any advice you can give us?
I will say, just to double down, that there's two things that COVID gave us and that I love. And that's one, my kitty can be on camera and no one's raging. And two, it opened up the conversation about mental health. And that is incredible, because I definitely struggled with it. I burnt out before I knew what burnt out actually meant many times in my career. And I'd wish I knew what were the driving factors behind that, how to create the balance to find time for the things that I love. And I love this analogy that I think this is my mother that told me this years ago from a book she read. And life is made up of four burners, and they're gas burners. You have your health, you have your family, you have your friends, and you have your work. In order to boil all four pots, that is impossible. You don't have enough gas that runs through that stove. So you have to think about where you want to focus your energy to help provide your dinner to be ready, your pots to boil. And if you put everything into work, everything into friends, and everything into family, your health is going to suffer. And to find a way to balance when it's time to turn up the heat a little on one side versus the other has helped me balance out that work life balance situation. I can't just let my health or my friends or my family flounder in order to keep my work going, because then I'm not happy. I'm eating boiled rice and not the rest of the things that go with my boiled rice.
Absolutely love that analogy. It's really makes sense, and it's like, you go, oh, that makes absolute sense the way that you put it. And it is important. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. You can't, if your cup's not full, you can't fill anyone else's cup as well. But that's absolutely amazing. I love that. Julia, in terms of your own recipe for happiness and work-life balance, what is that?
I would say, mental health is very important. So it should be your priority no matter what. Because if your mental health is not good, nothing else will work in your life. But as someone that is new in tech, I've been in tech for 3 years. I still want to grow, and I know my potential. I struggle with work life balance. I'm going to be honest. I work a lot. I am very ambitious, and I still, I need to figure out how to spend more time at home with my family, travel less. I travel a lot as well because I go to a lot of events. I give talks, etc. So I'm not the best person to give advice on that. Maybe whoever is watching and has it figured out can give me advice as well. I'm always open to people that have experience with that as well. I think we're always learning. But as I said, mental health first. I think I'm very strong. My mental health is very strong, and with that I can focus and be strong in my career. But if my mental health wasn't great, burnout is so easy, especially in tech, because you want to keep going and learning and being as good as others. So definitely mental health, I would say, is like the first thing. And then work-life balance. I don't know.
I know lots of people say it doesn't exist. There's no balance. You just have
Yeah.
to do with
It's
integrate it as
hard.
best as you can.
Yeah.
So, a final question that I want to ask is just really around the topic of inspiring the next generation. This is kind of coming back to that theme. What is your one piece of advice or message that you want to leave to the youth of today to either pursue a career in tech, or to tell them how they can actually aspire or get to where you are today? So, Karinne, I'll start with you. And also, if you have a favorite quote, I always like to ask people if they have a favorite quote. Let me know what that is. That's just my personal interest. I love hearing quotes. So, what is that one key piece of advice that you would want to share with someone listening today?
Be empowered by rejection. So, whenever we're sitting here and we're taking on more, anxiety is fear of the future, and depression is dwelling on the past. And the more that you let those two emotions start to cloud and bear down on you, the worse you're going to feel, and the harder it's going to be to take that next step. And you immediately kill some of your anxiety once you just do it. Just apply, just ask. It opens up the conversation, if nothing else. And that could be the answer to, like, maybe I thought I wanted this, but you know what? I don't really want this. I can't tell you how many things I thought I wanted from my career path that just end up not being the case, but it opened up doors that I didn't know existed. Like the position I'm currently in is, I didn't know being able to go around and be a technical storyteller, or the fact that I would be up on stage was ever in my 2 year, 5 year, 3 year, anywhere in my life types of plans. And just saying, can I? And then yes, afterwards, started off this whole new career path. And that is sort of my phrase, but analogy, depression and anxiety. So living in the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, I would say similar to what Karinne said, don't be afraid of being vulnerable. Brené Brown has written amazing books about, being imperfect and being vulnerable. I love her as an author. And you also asked for a quote. I don't know if it's really a quote, but just do it. Don't overthink, don't overplan, just do it. Anything you want to send someone a message, just do it. A connect request, you want to work on a project, just do it. Even if it's not perfect, just publish it on GitHub, and even post it on LinkedIn, share it with other people. Don't overthink, because no one's perfect, no one is gonna get anything perfectly. And we tend to be afraid of judgment from others, judgment from being wrong. But I would say, don't fear, and just do it.
I love that Nike slogan.
Exactly.
True. Even with startups, if you're thinking you've got an idea to start a business, just do it.
Exactly.
Start, and even if you fail, you get back up, you do it again, or you do something else, but you just do it. I love that. I'm just going to read 2 questions from some of the comments that's come through. One is from Alicia Veeam. She said, for those that are between entry level and mid-level professions, how do we transition to get to mid-level if you've been entry level for 3 years? Who wants to take that one?
I can.
Okay.
So, career development is a big thing. And sometimes you get this advice that just says, do the job that you want, not the job that you're doing. And to me, that's just a recipe for disaster, because then you end up working for things that are more bearing on you without any type of development. But doing some things, and most workplaces have development programs, or they have education budget that most people don't even know about. And go get yourself a certification in something that is relevant to the project. Get certified in the platform, get certified in the technology, get some type of level up skill. They have these badges now. And if you can get yourself an O'Reilly subscription from your company, which is fairly cheap for a company side, they can give you badges for completing work courses. And you can say, hey, I've already been badged and skilled in 6 of the 10 things that you guys are working on. Would you be willing to let me onto this project? And that gives you footing in the door. Not only do I want to do this, I've shown you that I have the know-how to do this.
I love that. And also, it actually answers both questions, what you've just said. Because the next question was, how do you transition from, say, healthcare or marketing into tech? And I think it answers that as well, in a way, is that you need to research, first of all, what is it that you want to be? Do you want the role? Is it a data role, a cloud role, cybersecurity? Is it business analysis, software engineering, project management, UI, UX design? There's so many different careers in tech, right? So I think the answer to you was a question from Jaslyn Chong, is how do you transition into tech? Is actually first see what you enjoy. That's my advice. Is do you like working with people, with numbers, with data, with creating stuff? What is your strength and your passion? And then see what jobs are available to match those skills, and then see what qualifications you need to do to get you that badge or that qualification. And a lot of things are freely available online. Some things are you pay for, but I mean, you don't have to pay a lot with a lot of these things. Even global universities like MIT, Harvard, Stanford, they all have free courses. If you go and look, they're offering courses right now through of AI and all sorts of things, which is literally free. So you cannot say that you don't have access to learning. You just need to go and look for it. And no one needs to give you permission. We are now giving you permission. There you go. Permission's yours. Go learn.
And if they don't give you the opportunity, start applying to workplaces that will give you the opportunity. It's the
Absolutely.
best career move in IT.
And another thing I would say is also around culture. I mean, Veeam's got a fantastic culture. They really invest in their staff. They invest in diversity within their organization. They have been a partner of Women in Tech as well. And we're looking forward to partnering again next year. So it really, look at when you're doing interviewing for jobs, make sure the company culture also matches your values, so that you can hopefully, get that happiness or that esteemed balance that we all look for. But it really is important to interview the company as well when you're going for those interviews, to make sure that if you want that work-life balance, if you need to work remotely, or if you need to do certain things, kids drop off at school, or a lot of companies now are a bit more flexible. So you just need to find the right fit. And yeah, I was going to say is good luck. But ladies, that's the end of the questions for today. I hope you really enjoyed this time with us, and I did. I learned so much, and it was really just great to see that problems that we might be feeling is very isolated. They're not. They are global problems. I mean, the comments from all over the world have validated that they all feel imposter syndrome. We all feel that need to, find mentors. And it's just been great chatting to you today. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I loved having this chat, and I hope we can do this again. And for anyone in watching this, if you want to connect on LinkedIn or any other social media, we are Karinne and I. Yeah, we're open. Having chats as well, answering other questions. For me, it's always a pleasure to help bring more women into the tech space. I like to say, make more space for women. So I love doing that.
I parrot everything Julia said. She said it fantastically. And thank you so much for having us.
And if you want to be part of the Women in Tech network, I've put the link up in the chat again. It's our With Hub. It's a free platform. Go and connect, engage, learn, find mentors, upskill, jobs. Everything's there. So we look forward to getting to know everyone. And thank you for your time today. It's been great.